The Cubase Mixer, also known as the MixConsole. There's so much you can do with it that I kind of feel bad for all the other DAWs. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you my favorite Cubase Mixer features that I work with all the time that you need to use now. Now, the first feature is the setup window layout that you can find on the top right of the mixer in Cubase. And this is going to allow you to customize, the mixer to your taste and needs. For example, you have access to all the different sections like the inserts, the sends, the Q sends, the routing, the pre-section, modulators, and so on. So all these sections you can activate or deactivate so you can see them visible straight into your MixConsole. So if I want to add the equalizer, I just need to check this on. And there you go. On my MixConsole, I have the EQ right here. Okay, so it's very simple. Again, you go to the setup window layout and you just activate the sections you want to have visible on the MixConsole. Now, the cool thing is that you can customize those sections on different mixers, which I'm going to show you later on in this video. So you're going to have to stick around for this one. Now, the second feature is the meter bridge, which is so cool to work with when recording and mixing. So from the same setup window layout, I'm going to click on meter bridge on top. And there you go. This is a meter system for all the channels that you have in your session that will be located at the top of the mixer, which is very nice. I can actually change the behavior of those meters by just clicking on the function menu, go down to global meter settings, and right now the default meter type is set up to ppm. I can change that to wave if I want to, and now I have a visual of the waveforms of those channels straight from the MixConsole without having to go back to the project window all the time. So that can be very useful. I can also, from the same global meter settings, click on meter position. Right now it's set up to post panner, but I can also set that up to input if I want to. And that gives me an idea on the levels of the recordings, okay? And not the channels, okay? So which can also be practical for gain staging and stuff. Now the next on the list is the pre-section, which is one of the sections I worked with the most, okay? So it's always visible on my end. So it's right here on top. So this section will give you a high pass and low pass filter, the gain knob, and also the phase reverse, which again is very useful, and it's cool to have this right in front of you because honestly this is the type of moves that I do all the time on most channels I work with when mixing. When I gain stage, I'm going to gain stage using the gain knob here. Okay, I'm going to bring that up or down to gain stage my levels, and same when it comes to a low pass filter. Okay, I'm going to just activate the filter and that's it. I can tweak that up. And it's so easy. It's right there in front of you. So I kind of like that a lot. And by using the next feature that I'm addicted to, which is Q-Link, I'm able to select several channels, activate Q-Link right here on top, and make those changes on all those channels at the same time. So let's say I want to gain stage down these channels, okay? I just need to select them, and there you go. Now I can gain stage them down all at once at the same time. I can activate all low pass filters for these channels, tweak those up at the same time. Same for the high pass, same for the phase reverse if I need to, So Q-Link is basically a temporary link mode, which is very useful. And it goes like crazy. I can select these two channels, deactivate the same plugins, or even add plugins on those channels. That can be done easily using Quick Link, and even to make some moves inside the plugins. There you go. They are temporarily linked together. And the minute Q-Link is off, they are not linked anymore. So it's so cool. And what I like to do is to assign this to a key command so you have easy access every time you need quick link. So right now it's as a shortcut straight on my Stream Deck. Another very useful feature is the top EQ section right here on top, which is so cool. So let's say I want to work on that one channel, just EQ that channel briefly. I can just click on that EQ window on top, and there you go. I can access that EQ right away, and even access to the pre section on top of that. So that means pre-gain, the low and high pass filters, all within the same window, which is so useful. And of course, even the phase reverse. Look at that. So again, so accessible and fast and quick to have access to your EQ and stuff. So that's why I don't have like the EQ as a section within the MixConsole. I just use it straight from this window. The inserts and send sections are always on the top of my list, especially when mixing. So I always have a visual of the plugins I'm using and also on the sends I'm using in my session. Now, if you like to use the channel strip in Cubase, you need to have it straight inside the mixer. There you go. It's so easy to get access to all the modules inside of the channel strip straight from the MixConsole. It's unbelievable. So for example, I want to have access to my compressor. It's right there. I can even change the style of compressor straight from that same window. Okay. And also if I need a gate, I just need to activate it, and that's it. It's up and running. I can even change the signal flow within the channel strip straight from the MixConsole. So let's say I want to have magneto right on top. There you go, it's done. I just need to drag it up or down, and the module is going to change place, which is quite nice. So you can access your channel strip straight from the channel settings window. It's all going to be there. But again, you can also do it straight from the MixConsole. Now, this is the default view we have now with the channel strip within the MixConsole. What I can do, if I right-click on the channel strip tab, I have three visual choices when it comes to the modules inside the channel strip. So right now, it's set up to pop-up modules, which is the way I prefer. But you can also use these strip modules exclusive, and there's also these strip modules. So that was the old ways inside Cubase, which is cool, you know, but takes way more space. So what I like to do again is just to use the default one, the pop-up modules, which is, you know, way better to work with in my opinion. Okay, one last thing when it comes to the channel strip inside the mixer is that by default, the channel strip is post inserts. Okay, so it's going to come after all the insert processing. Okay, you can change that around. So to do so on a channel, you just need to open the channel settings window, and right on top you will see the inserts tab and the channel strip tab. And there's this little guy right here that will move the channel strip to pre or post insert position. So if I want to add it before all the inserts and stuff, I just need to click on this little icon, and there you go. The channel strip is going to come first, and then your insert plugins will come after. But by default, it is the other way around. Now, the next feature that I like to have on my MixConsole, especially when recording, is the Q-Sense. So I have my recording version of my MixConsole, and I have my Q-Sense right here in front of me. And this is going to allow me to customize a mix for the person I'm recording in the studio. Now, I already made a video on how to record with Q-Mixes, so I'm going to leave the link down below if you want to go watch it. So the way it works is very simple. So if I want to send some of that signal to my Q-Mix, I just activate the Q-Mix and send the amount of signal from that channel to the Q-Mix, which again is going to be sent to the headphones of the musician I'm recording. So something cool I can do is to select all the channels I want to activate the Q-Mix on. And by having Q-Link activated, there you go. I can adjust the Q-Send levels all at once. But I can also forget the Q-Link, go straight inside the control room. I have my Q1 mix on top. If I right click, go down to Q1, I have some options here, and I can reset the Q-Sends. I can enable all Q-Sends, also disable the Q-Sends. I can also use the current mix levels, which is so cool. So all the Q-Send levels are going to go according to what I have with my faders inside my mix, which is very useful. I can do the same with the panning also by using the current pan settings. And there you go. So very useful when recording with someone in the studio. Hey friend, we'll get back to the video in just a bit. Just a quick announcement to let you know that for this month of April 2025, Steinberg is offering a full 30% off all upgrades, updates, and full versions of Cubase 14. So if you don't have Cubase 14 yet, maybe now's your chance. So check it out. I'm going to leave the link down below, and the sale will end on April 28. All right, let's jump back to the video. Now, something nice I can do, and this is the next feature I want you to know about, is to reorganize your sections within the MixConsole. So if I right-click on one of the section tabs, I can go and click on Setup Sections. So there you go. So from this point, I can change the order of the sections around. For example, I love to have my sends right after my inserts. So I'm just going to click on that little icon here and just move that section below the inserts. And there you go. So now I have my inserts, my sends, and then my channel strip. Now the next one is so cool, is that you can set up more than one mixer. Now I work in Cubase 14, and if I go on the studio, I have 4 mix consoles that I can work with, which can be very, very practical. And all of these mix consoles will have its own key command. And again, I programmed everything within my Stream Deck, so I have easy access to all those different mix consoles. So the main ones I use is when I mix, which is my main mix console, but I can also switch to my recording mix console. And the cool thing is that will take into account not only the faders, but also the sections I want to have access to, which is so cool. So the Q section is part of my recording console, but is not on my mix console. And as you can see, I have my input channels that I have access to within my recording mix console, and that I don't need on my mixing version of the mix console. So they're not there, you know? So let's say you want to set up a version of a mix console for your effects channels only. There you go. The only thing I would need to do in this case is to go right up where I have the set channel type filters. And there you go. All of my channel types are listed, and I just check whatever I want, you know, part of this mixer, and uncheck what I don't want to be part of that mixer. And that's it. That's all I have to do. So same I have on this one, all the group channels and all my effects channels. And they will also take into account if you're using the control room, you know, the meter bridge and all that stuff. And something cool also from the project window is you also have access, as you probably know by now, to the mix console from the lower zone of the project window. That mix console is linked to a version of your mix console you have on your session. So now if I'm using 4 mix consoles, I can actually change what is going to be part of the lower zone mix console from the project window. Now, by default, the regular mix console will be the one selected, but if I want to change that around, so let's say I want to have my recording mix console be into the lower zone of the project window, I'm going to click right here on the top left to the sync visibility of project and mix console, and I'm going to select sync mix console to and project, and I make sure that the sync track channel type filters is on to begin with, and then in my case I'm going to click on sync mix console to, which is this one, to project. And if I go back to my project window, there you go. I have my mix console right there. And if I want to change the mix console again, I'm just going to go back to the one that is synced to the project window, unsync it before I sync another one, choose the next one I want to sync, and that's it. Another feature that I work with a lot from the mix console is the ability to create a group channel track by selecting several channels together, and same can be done with an effects channel. So let's say I want to send those guitars to their own group channel. So I'm just going to right click once they are selected, click on add group track to selected tracks, and that's it. That's all I need to do. And everything is routed straight into this channel. So cool. I can do the same for an effects channel. Same thing, right click and add effects track to selected tracks. Select the effect, and there you go. Done. All routed and ready to go. So cool. And same thing if I want to add a VCA fader to these channels. There you go. All done. So fast, I love it. Now, the next feature that is so cool to work with is the channel visibility agents. Now, this one is found right on top here, okay? So you have like different options here to work with. So for example, you can show the channels for tracks with data only. I can also hide or show the selected channels. My selected guitar channels are gone. I can undo visibility change. I can also make the mixer to show me only the channels that have data, and also that is at the cursor position. And there you go. So useful. And if we look on the left zone, there's also the visibility tab that is part of it. If I click on the channel tab at the bottom, I have access to all the channels within my project. And from that point, I can select, like, let's say I want to select all of these. I can just select them, hide them from the project from the left zone. Again, very quick and fast to work with. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but I do have some channels that are not moving, that are staying static. Same on my recording mixer. All of my input channels are staying put, they're not moving. The easy way to do this is very simple, from the left zone. And this is another of the features that I use all the time, is by clicking on the zone tab that is at the bottom. I have like the three locations. I have the left, the center, and the right location from the MixConsole. By default, all the channels are set up to the center zone, but I can move any of these channels to the right or to the left zone, so they can stay static. So I always have a visual of these channels. And this is what I did for my main instrument bus channels. So my mix bass, drums, guitars, keys, and all those channels are set to the right zone of my mixer, which is so cool. And I did the same with my input channels that are set up to be visible on the left side of the MixConsole. And again, they are not moving. So I always have a visual of the recording levels straight from the MixConsole. Now, beside the visibility tab on top, we have the history tab, which is so useful to work with. This will give you a visual of all the moves you made since you opened your session, and you can go and recall those moves, which is so cool. So let's say, for example, I'm removing these plugins. You're going to see my moves right into the history tab. So I can go from the history tab and just, go back to where it was. And there you go. My plugins are going to go back, but I can also use the undo and redo icons on top, which is linked to the history. Okay. And in that case, I would click on undo and it's going to do the same thing. And I can do the same for redo. This is a very well done feature. Now, the next one is the combined panner that you can find on a stereo channel. So for example, I have this channel right here. We have our regular standard panning. Okay, but what happens when we pan a stereo channel? Basically, when it does, if I move the panner to the left, it's only going to reduce the level of the right side and keep whatever is on the left. Okay, and that's it, which is fine for most signal. But sometimes with a synth signal, which is going to be more complex, or an orchestra, for example, that is routed to a stereo channel, by moving that panner, you're going to lose some of the information that is part of that sound. So what I do in that case, I right click and I click on stereo combined panner. And there you go. Now it's going to pan the full sound, the left and right sound, to the right or the left. And you can also narrow the stereo width, okay, by extending or reducing the width of that panner, which is so cool. You can even do it the other way around and reverse the left and right sides. And there you go. Very practical tool. Again, it's only available on stereo channels. Another very cool feature is the bypass functions we have on top of the MixConsole, where we can bypass the modulators, the inserts, the sends, the EQs, and all that stuff. So for example, if I want to bypass all of my inserts, I just need to click on top, and there you go. All of my inserts are bypassed. That's it with one click. And you can also do the same with the channel strip and the sends. Another very nice feature is the fact that the MixConsole is so modular. You can resize the size of your faders. Same for the sections, the meter bridge, and even to zoom in and out by clicking on G to zoom in or clicking on H to zoom out. And that will determine the size of the channels, which is so cool. And also at the bottom of each channel, we can know right away if the channel is a mono channel or a stereo channel. And I can switch that around straight from the Mix console. So let's say I want to convert this stereo group channel to a mono channel. I just need to click on it and that's it. Now it's a mono channel, which is so cool. It's not something I use all the time, but sometimes, especially when working on a mono channel, where I want to insert an effect, where that effect is a stereo effect, I'm going to need to convert that channel into a stereo channel so I can hear that effect in stereo. Okay, so that can be a very good use of it. But what I like a lot about this feature is that it's easy access and quick. Another feature that is so practical and quick to work with is to move channels around straight in Cubase. Look at that. So cool. Okay, and this is actually not on older versions of Cubase. It came out in the Cubase 14, which is so well appreciated. So you can select more than one channel, move everything around to the location you want in a very fast and efficient way. Now, another feature, which is, I think it's feature number 21. Look at that. Now, this one is the selection, brightness, and color of a selected channel. Okay, so as you can see, when I select a channel, the color is going to be brighter. So the same color code, but brighter for that selected channel. So to change that around, go into your Cubase preferences, you go down to user interface and then track and mix console channel colors. From this window, you'll be able to colorize your tracks, but what I have selected on my end is the show color from selected channels. And that's it, okay? And I set up the selection brightness to the max in my case. If I bring that down to almost the minimum and I click on apply, there you go. This is how it's going to look like. My selected channel is not going to be as bright, so I'm going to keep it to the maximum brightness. If I uncheck the show color, now it's going to turn out white, basically, for the selected channel. So maybe that is the way you want to work with it, which is fine. This is mainly a personal preference. In my case, I like it this way. So this way I know exactly which of my channel or channels are selected. Now, some of you are probably going to say that I forgot the control room. So yes, the control room is part of the mixer, but also part of the project window. So if you want to know more about how the control room works, you need to watch this video where I go over everything you need to know about the control room, which is one of my favorite tools in Cubase. All right, my friend, take care and see you next time.